grievance over the conduct of Ondo State APC governorship primary as aspirants in the race question the integrity of the process, but flag bearer Governor Akeredolu is speaking up on the matter. And young professionals in the APC are worried about the internal crisis rocking the ruling party. They've raised the alarm and wants the president to intervene quickly. Hello everyone and welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbaloye in Lagos. Recently, there have been a series of disagreements between government officials and appears to be some kind of discord between the executive arm of government and the legislature. And so some members of the All Progressives Congress under the umbrella of the APC professionals are advocating the need for unity between the legislature and the executive. They were addressing a news conference at the APC headquarters in Abuja. The national coordinator of the forum, Mr. Akim Akintaya, says the bickering between members of the legislature and the executive is not a good omen for the party.
We need to call for unity and synergy among our senior party men and women in the two branches of executive and legislature in order to drive the wheel of progress of our next level mantra. We appreciate the president in his sustained anti-corruption war. However, we encourage the president to take necessary action that will benefit the largely neglected people of Niger Delta by repositioning the NDDC after the audit of the activity since its creation. The neglected people of Nigeria bear the greatest brunt in the misdirection of NDDC, and such must be changed. Security. As professionals and intellectual bank of the party, we appreciate the numerous gains and sacrifices being made by our security operatives across the country, who often pay the supreme sacrifices to secure our borders. Nevertheless, we urge the heads of security agencies to further review our security strategy to totally decimate the security challenges in our country presently.
Well, we're going to be talking about some more crises in the APC, especially as regarding the governorship primary in Ondo State. That's going to be after our political roundup.
President Muhammadu Buhari is calling on all citizens of Mali to embrace the proposals for a government of national unity where inclusivity in governance would be its core mandate. President Buhari made this call while delivering his speech at the virtual ECOWAS Leaders Extraordinary Summit on the socio-political situation in Mali. The candidate of the All Progressives Congress in the upcoming Edo State governorship election, Pastor Sage Izie-Iyamu, has presented his manifesto known as the Simple Agenda to traditional rulers from Edo South Senatorial District of the state, with a pledge to implement every item in the document if elected into office. Pastor Izie-Iyamu was accompanied on the visit by former national chairman of the APC, Adams Oshiomhole, and other party chieftains. Mr. Oshiomhole insists that Edo State has been on the path of steady retrogression since the coming of the present administration, hence his desire to intervene. The People's Democratic Party is asking the former national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Adams Oshiomhole, to account for 42 billion naira allegedly received as security votes during his time as governor in the state. The publicity secretary of the PDP in Edo State posed this at a press briefing at the party secretariat in Benin City, the state capital. The publicity secretary also insisted that Mr. Oshiomhole's comments of late should not be taken seriously, noting that his candidate in 2016, Governor Godwin Obaseki, is the same person he is now plotting to remove from office. A faction of the Ogun State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, believed to be favorable to the National Working Committee of the party, has elected new state executives of the party, with Sikirulai Ogundele from Ogun Central Senatorial District of the state emerging the chairman for a second term in office. Before now, a faction of the party supported by a senator who represented Ogun East Senatorial District between 2015 to 2019, Buruji Kashamu, had elected Samson Bambushe as its own state chairman earlier this year. An aspirant of the All Progressives Congress in Ondo State's governorship primary election, Ulushala Oke, has vowed to remain and work for the success of the party in the state. He made this disclosure while addressing newsmen in Akure on his next move after the primary election of the APC held in the state capital. The APC leader polled 262 votes to clinch the second position in the election.
Thank you so much, everyone. And let's get you talking about what has become some kind of crisis in Ondo APC and the aftermath of the governorship primary in the state. So Governor Rotimi Akeredolu is the APC governorship candidate. He emerged winner of the primary election last week, Monday. But it appears some of those who ran with him in that race are not happy about the process. They are alleging discrepancies in the conduct of the exercise. Tonight, we shall be speaking with one of the aggrieved persons. But the governor, Rotimi Akeredolu, is optimistic of victory at the polls as he dismisses claims that the primary election that produced him as a candidate of the party is fraudulent. He was speaking at the party headquarters in Abuja after meeting with members of the APC Appeals Committee behind closed doors. Mr. Akeredolu insists that he remains the best candidate for the governorship election. Take a listen to him.
It's a claim to put before the appeal. How I will respond to it, I will respond to it with the appeal. The appeal process is there, and I've handled it. So, if you claim it was fraudulent, it is you to prove. Well, for me, the deputy leaving APC to go back to PDP.
So I'm joining me tonight, Dr. Nath Adoju Telegon, an aspirant in the Ondo APC governorship primary. He joins us from our Abuja studio, and Mr. Donald Ojogo, the Commissioner of Information in Ondo State, joins us from Akure. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming tonight. Let me begin with Mr. Adoju Telegon. You ran in that race, and you polled just about 4 votes, but afterwards, you're not happy with the exercise. What is the major issue that you have with the process?
Thank you. Good evening. The major issue with the progress was that there were substantial irregularities and substantial non-compliance with the party's constitution and the party's guidelines for nomination of candidates by in an indirect primary election.
When you say that non-compliance, what are the guidelines that were flouted, yes, and by who?
Section 87, subsection 7 of the Electoral Amendment Act 2010 provides that where a party adopts the system of indirect primary election, that party shall outline in its constitution and rules the procedures to be used. In Article 24 of the APC Constitution, and it is clearly stated that an indirect primary election should be made by an electoral college of delegates democratically elected from their various wards in the state.
So
this was not done.
Okay.
And that amounts to a substantial non-compliance to the APC's constitution. Also, the delegate lists that were provided In that delegate list, there were statutory delegates and those who are supposed to be democratically elected at their various wards. What you find in the delegate list are all committee members at ward levels, all executive committee members at local government levels, all elected members of the party in the state. These people are not statutory delegates, and they voted in that election. Also, paragraph 12 of the guidelines specifically provides that voting should be by secret ballot. The public, and I would say all Nigerians that witness or watch the Ondo State governorship primary election, APC, will agree with me that what we had was not secret ballots. In fact, there were no polling booths.
Let me quickly get you. Sorry, you're a lawyer, Dr. Adoju Telegon. Did you, when you saw this before the process started, because what I understand that some of you were engaged, the aspirants were engaged in the process leading up to the primary election. Were you engaged in the first place? Let's clear that. Were you engaged? Did the committee that conducted the primary, did they engage you?
Yes, there was a meeting less than 24 hours before the primary election. At that meeting, the aspirants were given the delegate list. That was the kind of engagement we had.
But did you raise the issue about the delegates to that election, just as you were raising it? Did you raise it at the time when they provided you with the delegate list?
Complaints were made by me during the election and before the election.
All right. So let's get some other views now. The Commissioner for Information, Mr. Ojogo, joins us now from Akure. Mr. Ojogo, thank you so much. You viewed it. You saw it. You're a member of the APC. And you've heard what Dr. Adoju Telegon said. That there is a major issue of compliance with the exercise. Your reaction, because your principal, the governor, is a candidate here.
Well, thank you, Shane, for having me. We are members of the APC, myself and the very most revered aspirant, Mr. Nat Adeju Telegon. Yeah, he talked about issues bordering on non-compliance, but you also know that when the committee came, it interfaced with all the members of the party, particularly those who were aspirants. An engagement was not less than 24 hours before the election. It was such that it became so error-proof to a very large extent that it was the best organized and the most effectively managed process that we have seen in the last couple of years as far as electoral primaries are concerned in any party. Well, this time we are not going to engage ourselves on the propriety or otherwise of any exercise. We have moved past the issue of primary, and I know that my principal, the governor of the state, Arakun Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, has equally embarked upon an aggressive reconciliation drive. Recall too, please, that shortly after his declaration, he made an emotional speech where he extended his hands of fellowship and his hands of friendship to other aspirants and other leaders who appear to have been aggrieved even before the primary. Shortly after his declaration, not less than 7 hours after his declaration as candidate of the party, he embarked on that drive. He visited the 3 candidates, and it is not over until the elections are over. It is still a process in motion. It is still a process that the Mr. Governor has encouraged himself, and it's a process that every well-meaning member of the party has equally encouraged Mr. Governor to continue to pursue to fruition. So my appeal to Mr. Nat Adeju Telegon is not that, well, he doesn't have the right to protest or take his appeal to the appeal panel of the party. But it is always better for us to be on one boat. It is always better, it pays better for us all to be together. He knows, of course, that the most formidable campaign run by any other person aside the government, where the outfits where the former chairman of the party, Honorable Diake Kemeke, as well as Shifolusho Laoke. These are very formidable members and leaders of the party, not just members, leaders of the party that we reference so much. If they have extended their olive branch the same way Mr. Governor did, I think it is also desirable on the part of Mr. Nat Adejuto-Elegon to come on board so that we can build the party.
So, Mr. Ojogo, just a moment. Let's take a breather. But when we come back, he's raised issues regarding substantial non-compliance with the process. These are issues regarding legality where anybody can challenge the process. We look at what is left for the APC in resolving those knotty issues surrounding the outcome of that primary and the emergence of Governor Akeredolu as the governorship candidate of the APC. We dig more about this matter when we return from the break, everyone. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone. Let's get back to the conversation quickly. I have Dr. Nath Ojuto-Elegon, who is an aggrieved aspirant of the Ondo APC governorship primary election. Thank you so much, Dr. Ojuto-Elegon, for your time tonight. And we are also been speaking with Mr. Donald Ojogo, who is the Commissioner of Information in Ondo State. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight. So, Mr. Ojogo, let me come back to you. If Dr. Ojuto-Elegon, for example, said there are no substantial compliance with issues regarding the constitution of your party and the Electoral Act, those are major issues that he has raised tonight. It's beyond a political issue. It's within the legal realm. How do you or your principal handle that kind of error if it does come up from the side of the organizers?
Well, I think the issue borders much on the areas of conflict that Mr. Nat Adejuto-Elegon has raised. I am not a lawyer. I think he's a lawyer, and the onus is on him for him to prove that there, of course, were indeed irregularities and that there were various glaring issues of non-compliance, substantial non-compliance to the laws governing the conduct of primaries in APC, particularly as it even relates to that of Ondo State that took place last week. But I can tell you that, yes, if you are presenting cases or a case of this manner, of course, you must have to present your case in a manner that the merits of your case must outweigh the demerits. Where the merits outweigh the demerits, then you may seem to be having a very good case. But I doubt. I am not trying to be preemptive of the outcome of the appeal committee. But the truth of the matter is that Dr. Nat does not have a case. It's only laughable that he will come to national TV and say that there was substantial non-compliance. I wouldn't know how he comes about that.
All right. So let's ask Dr. Adejuto-Elegon some of the issues that have been raised by you. Dr. Adejuto-Elegon, first and foremost, let's clear this. Have you approached the appeals committee, which is the statutory first step after an election when you have a grievance?
Yes, I have approached them, and I've presented my case before the appeal panel. In fact, this is a case of legality. I mean, it is so clear that those who voted in that election were not democratically elected as prescribed by the Constitution of APC. Also, the guideline specifically says that it has to be by secret ballot. It wasn't by secret ballot. During that election, there were photographs of people taking photos of their ballot boxes, ballot papers. There were people showing off, displaying their ballot papers. During the election, the people were clustered together with their ballot papers.
So let's, Dr. Adeojuta Legon, just a moment. Dr. Adeojuta Legon. If my producer can pull up the video of the primary so that Nigerians can clearly get what you meant by the secret. There is an open secret ballot, which is supposed to be in the cubicle. So what you see there on your screen, Dr. Adeojuta Legon, where the ballot boxes were placed on the table, that is not what your party constitution prescribes, isn't it?
No, you will see, if you look back, you will see the tables where they actually printing the ballot papers. It's supposed to be in cubicles. However, what they did was to put some tables together, and then you find delegates voting together at the same time. They could all see what they were doing at the same time. And then they will now line up to drop their ballot papers in the boxes. And when they are on the line, you will see them opening, displaying their ballot papers.
But do you have evidence of that, Dr. Adeojuta Legon?
The fact remains that those who voted, yes.
Do you have evidence of people showing off their ballot papers?
Yes, I have the evidence, and the evidence had been presented before the appeal panel.
But what is the response of the appeals panel to you?
People taking photographs of their ballot papers. Not only that, those who voted were not democratically elected. The statutory delegates extended to those who are not statutory delegates. I do not have to go far to present this evidence. You just have to look at the delegate list, and then you know the election.
Dr. Adeojuta Legon, what is the response of the appeals panel towards your appeal? What did the appeal panel, what did they say?
A decision. What they did was they invited His Excellency, the Governor of Ondo State, to the appeal panel today. And I suppose His Excellency has addressed them.
Okay. So, Mr. Ojogo, if you will respond to what some of the issues that he has raised, he said the process and the balloting process was flawed based on the guidelines for that exercise.
Well, I think what we need to realize is that I can only appeal to Dr. Nat Adeojuta Legon to toe the path of reconciliation. He should be conciliatory enough in his heart. Let him toe the same line with revered leaders of the party, like the Deputy Senate leader, Senator Boroface, the first runner-up, Olushola Oke, and others who have decided that the interest of the party is paramount. I consider this as a very fruitful venture. A fruitless venture. And it is a fruitless venture, in fact, at nothing. He has to come on board. We need him. We need everybody to be on board to be able to defeat the rampaging opposition. It is rampaging at nothing. It has nothing to do with us. We are not threatened in any form. But nobody is unimportant in this game.
So let's close the program now, and let's spend the next 20 seconds preparing. Dr. Adeojuta Legon, what is your next step of action? You do realize the danger or the implication of your move. Are you going to court on this matter, or what is your next step in 20 seconds, Dr. Adeojuta Legon?
My next step will be determined by the decision of the appeal panel. I was a major a supporter of His Excellency. I like him. I do not hold personal grudges against him, but I believe that there cannot be good governance without a free and fair election, even a free and fair primary election.
All right.
So that is a belief that I hold deeply, and I think I'm in politics to promote good governance.
All right. We need to leave it at that. Mr. Ojogo, in 20 seconds, your final word.
We are still expecting Dr. Nat Adeojuta Legon to come on board. You see, the primary was conducted freely, fairly, and transparently. And it was won freely, fairly, and justifiably too. So we need it.
All right. So we need to leave it at that. We need to leave it at that. Thank you so much, Mr. Ojogo and Dr. Adoju Telegum, for your time tonight on the program. But before we go, I mean, interesting times indeed in the politics of Edo State. We're keeping tabs on those two states that are having an election in September and October. But this incident happened, of course, in Edo State, as we reported earlier in our political roundup. But I'd like you to listen to the former governor of Edo State and the former national chairman of the APC when he met some leaders of in Edo State. Take a listen to him.
I am sorry. I sold a bad product. But I'm telling you, any of us would have made that mistake.
We don't forgive you, sir.
As they say, a green snake, other green snake. Now the summer has come. The green is getting brown, and we can now see the snake. When we see the snake, what do we do? We sit.
Well, we keep keeping you up to speed with some of the happenings in some of those areas. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Kimale.